World scene. Alright, so let's start at the world scene. Go from there. So world scene, you have these little dots you can click on. So this is the zone town. You can click on the zone forest. So you basically click on the little map icons and traverse the map, see? So this would be kind of like your world map in your RPG that you can click around once you unlock various locations. So, zone town will enter the zone. In the zone, we go into a dialogue. Zoe, hey, nice to meet you. I'm the town crier. What's the name of this town? This town's called Townville. What do you do here? There's plenty to do in Townville. You want to buy things? Yeah, you can buy sell goods at blacksmith. He's right down the way. Any dangers? Now it's been infested with rats. Goodbye. End conversation. Okay, so... Okay, actually, I think we have to start on the start scene to get everything loaded, right? So you go to start, and then you go to the world zone, and then you go to... And this is kind of our zone, which is really hacked together. And this would be implemented in the maps, as opposed to just... But basically, you can click around to different interests. So you go to the alley, the blacksmith, the town square, or you can go to our dialogue. And conversation. And this would be conversation. Basically, you can click out different interests. So that kind of shows how we're traversing a tree in the world, the zone, and the dialogue. So let me kind of show how it's built. So aside from the Unity stuff, which is basically real simple scenes, like the dialogue scene is just two panels. That kind of shows how we're traversing a tree and wiring it up with a controller. The world scene just has a navigation panel and a detail panel and an image. I mean, it's very simple Unity stuff. The meat of it is in the actual scripts. Alright, so let's go into the Unity project. So here's our dialogue testing project. We have resources, which are just some raw text files that drive these trees. So basically, one of the reasons I got delayed for a while was I was really trying to get this to work with JSON. And out of the box, Unity does not accept JSON.NET, which is probably the best JSON library there is. They charge $25 for it, so I might pay $25 down the line and get it, but I wanted to do something that was open source and free, so I tried to use a lot of the free, supposedly compatible JSON libraries in Unity, and they just wouldn't work. So they would, anytime you got to any sort of complex structure of nodes, arrays, nested objects, they would just blow up. They wouldn't work. So I fiddled with that for a while. It was weeks, just trying different libraries, changing my my schema, my structure of the JSON, trying to get it work. So in the end, I was just like, screw it. I'm going with just a custom text format. So I went with a custom text format and wrote a custom parser just to read in these trees. So basically, you have a manifest, which just lists the other files. So you have kind of the file itself, and then kind of what type it is. Then you have your different files. So like a world file here. It's kind of broken up with different delimiters, single dashes, or double dashes, quadruple dashes, and then colons and semicolons. Basically, this is a node in the world, and then here's the links. So everything on top of the two is the node itself, and then below it is the links. So from the town you can only go to the forest, but from the forest you can go to the town and the desert. And this is kind of the ID of the node, this is the node name, and then this is all the metadata about the node. So kind of a description, some map location, things like that. So the world map's pretty simple right now. The dialogue, the zone map, also pretty similar. You have your node, which is the town square, and then other nodes you can link to. Zoe Alley Blacksmith. From Zoe, she's a dialogue. From Alley is a battle. Blacksmith is a store. And then town square is a link. Link means it's connecting to some other meta node, in this case, back to the world. And then we have the dialogue. So the dialogue is kind of the guts of what these trees are going to be used for. And one thing that's nice about using this text format is it's a lot easier to just write by hand as opposed to kind of making it in JSON. When you wrap this in JSON, you have all these wrapper tags around the stuff, and it'd be a lot of grunt work. I mean, you could obviously write tools to build it, but when you're writing these dialogues by hand, by scratch, it's going to be a lot easier just to say, hack out a few delimiters, and it's mostly just writing dialogue, which is nice. So basically the dialogue system, you have a node, and then you have links. From her intro, you can say all these things, and then when you say "nice to meet you," that would go to node 2, and then she says, "I'm the town crier," and then from there you can ask additional questions. A few custom things are, if you want to leave the conversation, goodbye. Basically, go down to goodbye. There's nothing there, so kind of the shortcut to leaving the dialogue is no responses, and that just allows you to leave. There are additional things built into this system that allow, they're basically conditional logic. So in a link, you could have, there's a thing called global flags. So the way a global flag works is it's just a key value table. It's basically, you can set it through traversing nodes, and you can also access it through traversing nodes. So say you wanted to only allow the dialogue to respond if you possessed a certain item. So say you have, the magic gemstone, and if you have that, she'll say something special to you. So what you would do is you would have basically an additional data on this link here saying the global flag means you have to have the gemstone, and if so, that link is accessible. So the global flags basically, and you can also set it as well. So in the node itself, when you get to a node, that you can use that to set a flag. So, and then it's even more complicated where you can have things like greater than, less than, equal to, counting, that kind of logic. For this example, I didn't really get into that too much. So that's our raw data. From there we have basically some classes that, when it's read in, these are the actual classes defined. And so you have an interface for a tree, and then you have a tree node and a tree node content. So a tree interface has a name, a type, global flags, like I was mentioning, a node, and then different nodes themselves, and then you have the links. The node itself is going to have an index. It's going to have a list of branches and a list of flags. So the flags is like I was mentioning. That's how you traverse. You have conditional logic for traversal, and then you have operations to actually, select a node, get a list of the branches, get a display, things like that, get an index. And we have a thing called a tree store, which is basically a dictionary repository for all the trees in the game. So you have you have your world. You might have possibly multiple worlds if like each chapter the world slightly changes. All the dialogues, all the zones, those would live in the tree store. So the tree store is going to have a dictionary of all the trees along with an ID. It will actually store the global flags. So the global flags are kind of like, these are game-wide flags. As you go through quests, that's really what's going to drive the quest. Is you go and you pick up the widget or the MacGuffin. It's going to set a flag, and then you go talk to an NPC. They'll see that you have that flag set. Their dialogue will change, and your quest tree will also advance. So here's the tree store. You have your individual tree nodes. So one thing about the tree nodes is there's different types that implement the interfaces. So you have the generic tree node, but then you also have like a world tree node. World tree node is slightly different. So like it has slightly different data. The world tree node content and the toString's different. Things like that. Zone tree node, dialogue tree node has slightly different content. Right, so, and then here's the global flags. So the global flags, right now, we're out of the box. Right now, it's just going to do equal to, so it's just a key value. Do you have this value set? But again, it allows you to compare types like not equal, less than equal, contains, or subset. Here's the global flags. So the global flags right now. So you could get some pretty complicated and complex quest logic going on with that. So that's pretty much. This took me a while to work on, just to hack on, because I wanted to get a structure that was usable and also robust enough to kind of handle an entire RPG game, right? So you want to be able to have world exploration, zone exploration in a map, complex dialogue trees, quests, all that kind of stuff. So that's why this kind of guy took me a while to get working. A little bit further down, we have kind of a lot of this stuff is dealing with the